that is jumping on already, we have Russell Boyd with us today, who is customer success manager at Neo Home Loans. You're specifically for the Valley region or the Insight team?
Yeah, so the Insight team, which is formerly known as the Ryan Grant team. So I support all of the Insight team's mortgage advisors, and we have now in the entire company, as crazy as it seems, six other CSMs, so seven total, and just looking to grow moving forward. So it's super exciting.
That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
So you go by team though. So each team has their own customer success manager.
Correct. And a lot of our CSMs actually support multiple teams. Ours is just sort of so big that I do sort of just the one team, but for everyone else, they do multiple teams, but only have the one CSM.
Okay. So how does that work? Because I think that this is something that we want to address with everyone, because I think it gets to a point where if you're a solo originator, I don't think you have the number of clients to have a full-time customer success manager.
Right.
So how does that dynamic work within the Insight team? Or let's say you were a customer success manager for multiple teams.
Right.
How does that really work? Like, are you part of everything within the team and all of the meetings and things like that?
Yeah, we're certainly part of the entire team. Now we focus obviously most on the post-closing side of everything. If we have to jump in and help with like lead management, we do, but that's a minority of the time. And as far as balancing, having enough sort of, I guess, business or clients to support, that's really done more at sort of a branch level or a managerial level. We'll go figure out, hey, based upon LOX and LOY's business, they're going to, CSM is going to need support for MAs or for LOs. And it's sort of a juggling act, which we're still sort of working through, to be honest with you. But it's something that we're striving to get better at just because of the growth. But we're starting to balance that. And it's sort of a work in progress, but yeah, we focus 99% of our time on just post-closing follow-up, and I get a little bit of lead management, and then it depends on the team. We have a weekly meeting as far as our team, just where we touch base, and then meetings interspersed with training, but typically just the one meeting, at least in my experience for myself.
Okay. And how does that work as far as, let's say, again, you were serving multiple teams as a customer success manager? Would you treat that process differently based on whose team it was? Like, would you kind of custom make the follow-up process based on the loan officer?
No, we try to keep things as congruent as possible throughout the company, just because it's going to make it way easier to sort of scale and up-level the position, and therefore up-level the service to the clients and how much we're supporting each LO and each referral partner. So we try to keep it as congruent as possible. Obviously, there are going to be still little sort of tweaks here and there with each with each LO. Specifically, a lot of them that are coming on are really all over the country. So it will be a little more challenging just to get that sort of up and running for each one. But I would say 95% of it is as congruent as possible within the company for all of us.
Okay, that's great. And I see there's a decent amount of people jumping on now. So just to let everyone know, Russell is a customer success manager with the Neo team, or for the Insight team specifically at Neo Home Loans. So we're going to be running through with him today. Really, this is tailoring to all the loan officers and the Art of Homeownership partners who might not have a customer success manager yet, because I want you to think outside the box a little bit, because there are ways that you can maybe share a customer success manager between multiple loan officers, which is what some of the teams at Neo do. So just trying to look for the right candidates, and then ultimately how that dynamic kind of works. We're going to be giving you some insight into that today. So Russell, going back to before you were at Neo, what is your kind of professional background that allows you to do this job well?
Yeah, I think that's a really important thing. I'm glad you brought it up. So straight out of college, and I'm actually from Oregon. I grew up there. I went to University of Oregon. Had a totally unrelated educational background. So it's not like I was a business or a finance major or anything like that. But I really worked in customer service since I can remember, before even getting out of high school, which is crazy, I think, in college. So it's typically just mainly customer service background. It was sort of a small call center. Like I said, I lived in Oregon, lived in Portland for a long time. So I worked up there for, gosh, I think it was 6 years. I
Okay.
worked for that company. Then moved down here. My wife is from Southern California. But really the thing that I think allows sort of as a personal level, people to be successful is really just active listening and empathy, right? That is really going to be the biggest key to success long term in this position, because the material as far as what a CSM needs to know just from a nuts and bolts mortgage or financial perspective, it's not like you need a ton of experience. Obviously, learning as much as you can on the job is going to be paramount. But just being able to relate to clients, actively listen to them, and then present solutions and guidance is so key, because um, they don't get this service really anywhere else. And a lot
Yeah.
of our clients, even past clients, if they're older clients we haven't connected with, they don't even know we provide it. So being able to really communicate at a high level, be empathetic towards problem solving, and really facilitating solutions, I think is going to be huge, because again, you can learn sort of the industry specifics. I knew nothing, absolutely nothing when I came into the industry. Had a great team to help train me, and I'm actually working through that with my other CSM, Joe. We're training two CSMs at this point. One has a ton of experience, one has none, but they're both doing fantastic. So again, just that really being able to connect with clients and listen and being empathetic towards problem solving, I think is the biggest thing that has made us successful, and we're looking forward to continuing to see it grow moving forward.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the people that I think of, because I have a background in restaurant, like working in the
Right.
restaurant industry.
Yes,
And
exactly.
I think
You know
that
then.
it's a great background
100%.
to have, because you're used to, not that clients are going to be difficult, but kind of rolling with the punches too.
Absolutely.
Having the people skills and being able to communicate with those past clients, I think, is a huge part of the job. So
And that,
I
and,
like that you said that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll 100% totally back that. And I'll say that, again, the material you can learn, but being able to connect with people, I'm not going to say you can't learn it, but it's almost an intrinsic skill that people have or they don't. And obviously, if you're more successful at it, you're going to work harder towards it. So having that be the baseline to build from, I think is huge. And that's something I actually spoke with Eddie, our ops manager, as far as moving forward. Said, hey, we really need to zero in on the right person, um, and sort of their background and makeup versus a specific industry understanding or whatever it may be. So
Yeah. And what was that kind of onboarding process? How do you train a customer success manager to do their job?
yeah, so a lot of it is just shadowing on calls and listening to real live bullet calls, I guess I'll say. Just because it's tough to be able, I mean, we role play as well through those typically after. So if we come up with a specific situation where a customer has questions about supplemental property taxes, or they don't really understand tax implications, not that we go in depth with that, of course, but really it's a lot of specific role playing, or live call training. And then it depends on the new hire as far as their industry background, because I'll just go back to the two people we're training now, and one has zero experience and the other actually was on one of our other teams as a production partner. So she has a ton of experience in the industry, but she's literally learning how to connect sort of at a different level, which it's not better or worse. It's just sort of a different way to train. But a lot of it is just listening to those calls, getting feedback, understanding the situations that come up, because they do tend to sort of repeat themselves as far as what we go over and what we talk about. So having those sort of down pat like this and be able to answer succinctly is key, and we're doing all of that. So,
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah.
If you were to describe at a very high level, kind of one key point of the customer success manager's role and purpose within the company.
Yeah. So to me, it goes back to what Ryan really has imparted on not just our team or our role, but really our entire company, is getting across to clients that we are truly only successful if you are successful. And that's why our role, customer client success manager, is so key. So it doesn't matter at all if we fund 1 million loans in a year. If we're providing no service to our clients after the loan is funded, we're just like, however many thousands of mortgage companies and mortgage professionals out there, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't change anything.
Mhm.
Neo really means new, right? So we're trying to really reimagine that, what people's expectations should be from a mortgage practice. Now it feels like sometimes you're trying to turn an aircraft carrier, so you just sort of do it, one at a time. It's not like, a speedboat where you turn just in 1 second, but we are finding success there. But I will say it's just being able to communicate to clients, hey, we're here for the long haul. We truly want you to be successful. That's why our follow-up is super important. That's why we continue to help you plan for all your future goals. If it ends up being a situation where it's a good idea for you to refinance and you're getting better terms elsewhere, we'll tell you that. We don't really have a problem with that. Now, that may sound crazy to some people, but at the same time, it's honoring that commitment that we made to you up front, and that we're always going to guide you from an unbiased point of view. And that, in the long term, in our opinion, and I think it bears out, that that's going to make us most successful.
Yeah. Yeah. And just coming from a good place, I think people really catch on to that when you're doing things for
Absolutely.
the right reason.
100%.
Goes a long way.
Yeah, it's tough because some people, that sort of makes them scared, like, oh, I'm going to lose business. But it's like, well, you got to really zoom out and understand that, it's more of a long-term game. It may be a little bit slower to grow, but in the long run, you'll be happy that you do it. And again, we're seeing that, and so it's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. We do have a few chats here. So Cheryl said critical thinking, working with many different personalities. She was a restaurant
Yes.
manager for 12 years. Yeah,
100%.
feel
12 years. That is, you got my respect. That's crazy.
Melissa said for new loan officers to AOH, is there a way to have someone shadow current customer success managers virtually? Also a restaurant manager for 16 years. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
To answer your question, that's a really good question. I'm not going to make any promises because that's not my position, but I will inquire within Art of Homeownership specifically and then see where that could fit in. I think that's a really good point, something that a lot of people would take advantage of. Do you, Melissa, to get into that a little bit more, do you currently have a customer success manager that you're looking to train, or is that something that you would do when you hire one? Just throw that in the chat whenever. But to go over, Russell, more of the timeline, I kind of want to get into the different touch points within the transaction. So when are you first introduced to a client, and where, like, how does that handoff happen? Where is the client coming from? And then ultimately, when are they coming to you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I will say, with my position, specific to our team, it's a little bit different than how all the other CSMs work. So I'll just speak sort of more broadly with sort of how they are introduced, and then I'll sort of just give you the caveat for me. So our touch points with all of our clients are at the 3 month after the loan funds. That'll be the first proactive. We call. If we don't connect them, we'll text and email them. The next one will be at 6 months. And then the next one after that will be for the financial review call, and we'll do that on an annual basis in perpetuity moving forward. Obviously, that can change if they refinance, or if they refinance with another company. That really doesn't matter. We'll still keep on that schedule. And as far as when we're really introduced to them, that really should be during the post-closing call. And that's where it's sort of a little bit different, because I actually do the post-closing calls for our team. Ryan used to do them, but like I come into work and I look at a schedule every day and I'm like, how do you do anything? How do you get anything done? How do you breathe? So it was about a year ago, I took over all those for him. So I'll introduce myself and, hey, I'm going to be calling you at that point. But sort of in between the post-closing call, whether it's myself or the LO that does it, we actually reach out to clients just to let them know about the loan transfer. That's a big thing for clients, because it's really scary, specifically for first-time home buyers, or maybe someone who hasn't owned a home in a really long time. They don't really understand, that moving forward, you're going to be paying a servicing company. We don't service our loans. So that's a good time for us to introduce ourselves, provide that information, really continue the white glove service of, here's how you log in, reach out if you have information, do you have tax questions. So the post-closing call is the number one time where we are introduced, and then we follow up a few weeks later. It depends, of course. But that's specific to the first payment, and then the actual first call, text, email. That's going to be done at the 3 month mark, and that's where we sort of get into everything at that point.
So the 3-month call, is that I'm sorry, maybe I missed that. Is that where you
Okay.
go more in depth, where you have like are asking them questions, or that's when you kind of introduce them to the servicing and who's going to be taking over the loan?
Yeah, so the servicing is we just really email them and tell them, hey, and it's typically about 5 weeks to 6 weeks after the loan funded.
Okay.
So that'll be just a really quick, hey, this is Russ from the Insight team. XYZ Mortgaging Company is going to be servicing your mortgage moving forward. Here's the information to make your payment. I'll be giving you a call in 6 weeks or whatever it is. And then at the 3-month mark, that's when we start to talk about, everything as far as A of H, um, you know, tax preparation, financial planning, really the works of each call moving forward. So that's the first sort of touch point, proactive phone call, at least at that point.
Okay. And how do you get them to be more engaged with art of homeownership? I think that's something that a lot of partners are working towards to increase that engagement with their clients. So how do you set that expectation and then get them to take action with it?
I think it's really tough. It's been definitely a challenge for us. I think a lot of the heavy lifting is actually done by the sales team at the beginning. So during like the contract meeting or even before like the discovery or the dreams and goals call, they'll bring it up and just keep on re-emphasizing the importance of it. But every single time I do a post-closing call, I let them know everything as far as, how's Happy Home Bought updated. We talk about Revive briefly. We talk about my follow-up. So really it's setting the expectation as early as possible with what it is. And the fact that, hey, you know, this is only going to help you. You are not, there's nothing from an obligation perspective. Do you have questions on it? Please engage with it. It is super helpful. And then obviously try to, let our clients know how important our clients have found it to their success. And I will say, I am trying my hardest to do my post-closing calls via Zoom. And then I'll actually just screen share with them and I'll bring them into HomeBot. I'll show them everything. And they're like, oh, that's super awesome. I'll go into actually into my home on House Happy and let them know, hey, look, anything you need done is directly through this portal. So that connection over video has been truly impactful. So not only that, but again, setting up expectations as early as possible, we found to be, successful. And again, it's a work in progress. We're always trying to get better at it. So
Yeah. And you said that that's during the post-close call that you're doing that screen share.
correct. Yes.
Okay.
If I
So
can wrangle them into doing a Zoom call, a lot of people don't want to be on video.
yeah. Yeah, I think us people in business and like in the mortgage space, we're
No,
always on camera, but a lot of
exactly.
people aren't used to
Yeah,
it.
yeah, for sure.
So then moving forward, as you're doing those annual financial reviews,
Mhm.
how first of all, what is the feedback when you're doing these calls? Like what is the engagement level from the client? Are they really excited about what you're going through?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. The financial review calls are by far and away the best calls that we make. I think it's unanimous within the team here. Um, because the clients are aware, especially if we've connected with them in the past, that we're here to help them. Uh, and we want to cover everything. We want to go over financial planning. We want to go, hey, is your money being invested properly? Hey, you protecting everything? Because a lot of clients, it's just like anything you go through life. It's like, oh, I'll get to setting that my will up, or I'll do, I'll have someone check over my insurance policies, and then it comes the next day, and the next week, and the
Yeah.
next month, and you never do it. So I like to let
Mhm.
our clients know, hey, I'm checking in because it's a sort of, a push to get everything done. So I found that clients that, again, we set the expectations up as early as possible as how we're going to help them. They're truly engaged. They really appreciate it. And a lot of clients, we also help them, hey, in a year or 6 months, I'm going to, want to upsize. I'm going to look at purchasing an investment property. So, we'll talk about that. And then I'll follow up with them, a few months later, get an update, and then we'll actually get a plan in motion. That way, when it becomes a time to do it, they're not scrambling to make an offer or scrambling to call a loan officer at 10 o'clock on a Saturday because they saw something. But we're
Yeah.
getting our financial ducks in a row. And again, the clients that we've set expectations for previously at the highest level and I've connected with are finding tremendous value and are super happy that we're able to catch up with them. And it's exciting to see that for sure.
Yeah. And when you're doing those annual financial reviews, are you bringing up art of homeownership at all
Yeah.
to
Oh yeah.
ask if they're engaging?
Yep. Absolutely. Every time we speak about Hey, are you getting the HomeBot emails? Have you fully engaged with House Happy? It depends on each person, of course, if they get the emails. But we've found that, making sure people are aware of all that just helps their engagement, for future calls and really, again, it's just something we're working towards, getting more efficient at.
Yeah. Okay. I think do we have a question here? Setting them up to be protected is so important. Yeah, Cheryl's just kind of hitting home that point. That's
Absolutely. And it's a lot of things. I will say clients, it's funny because they're like, oh, I should do that, or oh, I feel bad I have it. And I let them know, hey, it doesn't, we're here to help you. It doesn't matter what happened. Let's make a plan moving forward. And a lot of it, I've also found that when I really connect it to my experience, that makes clients it just makes it hit home harder, so much better. Like recently, my wife and I did that, as far as setting up a financial plan, life insurance, and all that. And I can just, I can hear it in their voice, like, wow, that's so awesome to hear that you do it. I'm really excited to do it. Let's, get the ball rolling, and then we sort of just go from there. So it's super, super exciting and nice to see that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think something to relate to is always really impactful because it is like that fear almost of hearing those horror stories. Like it's a shame that happened to someone else, but you want to protect yourself so it doesn't happen to you.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that Ryan, when he does his presentations at events, a lot of the time he'll talk about, and I'm sure you've all heard it. He had a client who didn't have life insurance, and he had, I think it was like a year they were in their home, and the wife had to call him and say, my husband passed away, I need to sell my home. They didn't have life insurance. So that's kind of his horror story that he instills within the loan officers to say, like, you need to adopt this sort of business model.
Well, we feel like that is an absolute abject failure on our part, and we did not do a good enough job. And that's what keeps us up at night, and that's what we hate, and that's what we're fighting against. So present, with the information, let them know the importance of it, and then it's up to the client to make the decision that works best for them and their family. And that sort of runs through not just only our role, but obviously within the team, as far as whether they want to refinance or purchase a home or whatever it may be. Um, we need to teach this, because no one else does, honestly. Going through high school, college, no one taught me any of this. But also, we need to be able to just let the clients know, hey, we're here to help you. How can we? Here's the information, and then let's find a solution that works best.
Yeah. And Russell, I know you said that you do the post-close call. Which member of the team is holding the initial dreams and goals call? I know we're going back quite a
No,
way.
it's fine. Yeah, it really depends. Typically, that's going to be a production partner,
Okay.
specifically in our team, because volume has just been so crazy for all our mortgage advisors, um, and they're wanting to sort of scale out a little bit and get more into business development. So that's going to be a production partner, and a lot of what we need initially, as far as just to figure out contextually where the client is at. Obviously, if they're a younger family versus someone who's retired, we're still going to offer everything, but we need to sort of guide the way that what we speak about with them. And a lot of that information is gathered on the dreams and goals call, and then is properly saved in the system, so we can reference that on the 3-month call. So that's where that's done.
Okay. And then that's a good point, actually, coming from more of a systems perspective. So when you have the not only the post-close call, but the annual financial reviews, how are you documenting everything and making sure that after the call, everything is followed up on and taken action, like because of whatever the client is trying to do?
Yeah, so there's a specific portion of our CRM page within each client's profile page. We're actually switching over to a different CRM here in like a month or two, so we'll have to start training that. But it'll be the same sort of thing where it's just, it basically has boxes, and you just check it, and then you write in. It'll be life insurance, disability insurance, estate planning, future real estate goals, investment strategies. All of that information is all documented on a specific page within their profile. And then as far as anything that sort of communication to either our team or maybe a real estate partner or a professional that they need to be put in touch with, we're able to email through the CRM, and loop everyone together who needs it. That way, it's sent to whomever it is on their inbox, but it's also saved in the CRM in that one page. So literally you just go to, Joe Smith, the client, and you can see all that information.
Yeah. And is there anything you feel like we didn't touch on that's a really key part of your role as customer success manager, that you feel like is really important with the client that we kind of missed here?
I'm just trying to think. Again, I really think it just goes back to connecting with them and then letting them know that we're here and we're not selling them anything. Our job is never to sell, but simply is to help. Typically when we haven't connected with clients for a long time, I'll say, hey, this is Russell with the Insight team at Neo Home Loans. And it's just like, you can just hear it. They're like, I don't want to talk to you. You're going to try to sell me something. So we got to
Yeah.
succinctly let them know, hey, I'm not selling. I want to help. Let's take a few minutes to connect with you. So just being able to message that at a high level as far as we're adding value. We simply want to help. We don't care where you're at within your life. How can we do that? That's super key and has led to a lot of just good results with a ton of clients.
This is a little bit getting into the nitty gritty, but developing that connection with the client, I think, is a really important part of being on
Yes,
more of a personal level with them.
absolutely.
So what actions do you take during the process that you feel like really do develop that connection with the client?
Just trying to let them know, again, we're not selling, and then also really documenting as much specific information as we can. Like a ton of our clients, they have a ton of sort of different family dynamics that are maybe sensitive or they need us to be able to help them work through. So if, their parents are getting divorced or if, family is moving out of state or something like that, I like to make sure I'm documenting, or, hey, we just had a baby, it's a son. Well, actually, I'll communicate to our marketing team, hey, let's send them a gift just to say, congratulations on, your growing your family or whatever it may be. So
Mhm.
really just being able to, again, sort of goes back to what I said initially from my experience, is actively listening to what they're saying, and contextualizing it and noting it. That way in future calls, I can, sort of go back to it. And I know we spoke about XYZ last time. What's an update on that? How are they doing? Or if it's a plan to do something else. So again, active listening, documentation, and then, being able to communicate over, the 3 months to 6 months of financial review calls. That makes our clients so much more engaged. And I will say, since I've been taking over the post-closing calls and we try to do them every time, that's also something that's huge because, if our clients aren't aware of us or they're just given a blurb at the contract meeting, it's like a fire hose of information they're probably not going to remember.
Yeah.
But re-emphasizing that on the post-closing call, that's made sort of that connection just way, way better and way more impactful. So
Yeah, I think those small details we kind of take for granted sometimes, and it's very unlikely that we're going to remember them, but
I won't.
documenting,
I won't.
right, especially, after that 3-month mark, the annual financial review, like you're going to forget a lot of what you talked about. So I think that's a really good point to document as much as you can in your CRM. Even the little things like their kids' names or just remembering those small little details, I think really creates that client experience that everyone really wants.
Your CRM is your best friend. Dialing it in and making it as efficient as possible. That's been a work in progress for us, and it's getting a lot better. And we're really excited to use the new platform, Daily AI. So that's something that's on the short term horizon, and we're excited for it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Russell, this was so impactful. I think for the last, I don't want to say second half, but the last few minutes, I just want to open it up because I know we've really talked about the post-close process a lot recently. So this allows us to be really tactical and find out what Russell does on a daily basis with these clients. So any questions at all that you guys have, please raise your hand or put it in the Q&A. We can bring you in to chat about it. But I know this was a topic that everyone wanted to hear about. Let's see here. Russell, I think you just mentioned you guys are switching to Daily AI, correct?
Yes, it's in the middle. I actually think Ryan is actually out in Colorado, sort of going
Oh
over
yeah.
everything with him like right now because it's like, hey, let's get this going. We've been trying, but everything we sort of done slight beta testing. I mean, very little, but yeah, we're super excited because its functionality looks it looks out of this world awesome. So I'm excited.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Melissa said, is there a template available for the notes you add to the CRM page? So are you using the annual financial review template and putting the answers to their questions in there, or you're strictly just using the CRM and recording the same information?
I guess so the way that it works in our CRM that we're using now, it's just a page and it has just little boxes that you fill information in. So that's how the documentation is saved. There's no real template to, like that essentially, I guess it would act as a template.
Yeah. Okay. So Melissa, I think how it works is just all of the information that is on the annual financial review form was put into the CRM. So just kind of customizing that for yourself.
Yeah, that sounds like that would be accurate. And there's, we definitely use scripting for that a lot, and to go over it. Obviously you flow in and out of certain things, but making sure to be as comprehensive and following the script as much as possible allows you to get through everything and do it in a timely fashion.
Cool stuff. All right, we'll hang out for another minute or two if no one has questions, but if so, please raise your hand and we'll bring you into chat. Russell, are you located in, you might have said this, are you located in Southern California?
I'm actually not. So I've been sort of a traveler as of late. So right before COVID, we moved down here. My wife was totally sick of the Oregon weather. I was fine with it because I grew up in it my whole life, because she has family down there. So we moved down to Southern California. But last October, we actually moved up to Northern California. So I'm in Sacramento is where I live now.
Oh, cool. Okay.
It's a good middle ground. We love it here. It's kind of a nice blend of Oregon and Southern California, and much more affordable. So
yeah,
we're liking it so far. Absolutely.
Cool stuff.
And it's awesome because I talked to Ryan. He's like, yeah, man, you could move to Mars and do this job. I don't care. And I was like, oh, that's pretty funny. So,
That's
and
awesome.
a lot of our CSMs, one of them lives actually two of them live up here. One of them lives in Reno, and then one sort of like an hour south of here. So absolutely can all be done virtually. And obviously it's totally fine. It's been interesting training, I'll say, but still pretty good.
Yeah. Do you have ongoing client success manager trainings or like meetings where you all kind of collaborate with each other?
Real good question. We meet twice a month for what we call like a mastermind. So it's 7 of us now. It's crazy to say that. And we just it's just free flowing conversation as far as issues we're running into. I'll be 100% honest with you, sometimes venting, but we definitely need that. And then on a monthly basis, we meet with Ryan and we go over issues or questions that we have. And then all the time we use Microsoft Teams for like our IM internally, and we just have a thread with all of us, and we'll just shoot questions, shoot topics to go over, issues, struggles. So it's very collaborative, and has really been helpful to make us as efficient and speed up ongoing training, because you can only sort of go over the topics as they come up during training. They're going to come up unique ones in the future, and that's made it again just super helpful over the long term to help our newer hires.
Cool.